The next day, Casey was stunned to find Michel had spent dirty money on a huge TV and cleared a big debt, which totally lit his fuse. How can our accounts possibly show we're making money? Wait, Jam, what did you even say to him? He's going to talk to the bank about $5,000 in taxes, and you think that doesn't count as making money? They just wanted to know how in the world he could come up with $5,000 cash so quickly. Of course, the bank was thinking, that's just our business. We could only say we got an extra leaf, no biggie. Treating them like fools. Yeah, that's a losing game. Meanwhile, reviewing the case revealed the nearby resident was Michel's farm, so they headed straight to Michel's house. As soon as they walked in, the massive TV in the living room had their jaws dropped. The packaging box was still lying around, and everyone was too busy gawking at the bizarre TV, so they had to tactfully ask about the alibi from the night of the... This kind of straightforward questioning is a classic cop move to catch the other party off guard and sniff out any loopholes from their reactions. Clearly, they were having a blast, and the cops were getting a bit uneasy about their whispers and giggles. When asked about specific dates, he just mumbled about snoozing in his room that night, while secretly grumbling about the farm. He was actually in a state of panic and lost control after encountering a bear that night, ultimately surviving a tragic twist of fate with his life hanging by a thread. The priest listened quietly, like a cartoon character with no judgment, but when Michel mentioned the €2 million, a little sparkle appeared in his eyes. Emotion experts believe these feelings can flash across a face in a split second, then vanish just like magic. Michel was shocked when the priest didn't demand he confess, but instead suggested he give the ill-gotten gains to the church might just lighten his guilt. Michel hesitated, mentioning Casey wouldn't agree. The priest stepped in like a peacekeeper, finally convincing Michel to bring the money tomorrow. Before leaving, he warned the priest that this had to remain a secret. When Casey found out, she erupted like a volcano. She pointed at Michel, screaming that he always stood behind her, expecting her to carry the load. We could just hear her hollering while Michel stood there speechless. With the case involving international drug trafficking, pros were sent in. But just as they got to the gas station outside of town, two cops, the killer, disguised as a cop, meets the sheriff, using Christmas to postpone serious talk till tomorrow. Eventually, they met at the hotel. The sheriff called them out to the country for a chat in the afternoon. The sheriff wanted Michel to spill the beans about the BMW, the body, the honey, and their cover-up. Michel just tried to dodge with old excuses. He bluntly told them they weren't even there. Just said the case was now with the detectives, and they wouldn't let it slide. Under the mounting pressure, Michel finally broke down, confessing everything after all. It all began when he lost control during that bear encounter. There were supposed to be only 2 deaths, but the 4th was a latecomer. Turns out it was one big accident. And Casey had no clue while he was busy celebrating Christmas Eve at Michel's. The confession would come the next day. Everything seemed to be finding a way out. As they were leaving, the sheriff reminded Michel that he didn't have to say he was the driver when he confessed tomorrow. Like, the kid's only 12, so legally there'd be no repercussions, just need to go to a special center. The couple couldn't even entertain the thought of sacrificing their son. €2 million made their head spin. Casey grilled the priest, who firmly claimed that money was a blessing from God, meant to help the villagers. Are you ready to take our fish? No, Michel, did you bring the fish? I brought it. I've got it ready, have you? I'm set, are you? I brought it, did you? Wait, this money doesn't suffice, you've got to hand it over to him. God can't help you now. God can't help. God can't help explain it to me. I will when he pulled out the cash. The killer just happened to spot that bag. The killer quickly reported back to the boss, promising to handle the situation personally. Later that night, the sheriff stopped by a bar. The bar owner talked about what she'd do with €2 million, and without missing a beat said she'd shit off to a sunny paradise. The sheriff just stayed quiet. That cash was practically in front of her face, and she was starting to waver. The next morning, the sheriff prepped to stash the cash in the precinct safe, but little did he know the killer was already tailing him. Just in time, the sheriff's female colleague noticed something off, took a shot, and dropped the killer, who turned out not to be a cop at all. The Michel family got a brief reprieve, taking their son out for a spin before stopping to fuel up. But they found the staff had met a grim fate, so they immediately opted to call the police. After confirming the situation, the 2 investigating cops returned to the precinct, while the sheriff began to clean up the evidence. The Michels appeared unusually resolute, admitting to hiding money and tampering with the body. This was no ordinary mess. Just then, Dudu's phone rang, and it was the little drug lord on the line. That night, the sheriff returned home and handed his daughter a long-overdue Christmas gift, not a toy, but cash. He wanted his daughter to use that money to buy a used car or get a driver's license. Then, as a way of making amends as a dad, the sheriff texted Michel telling him not to make waves tomorrow. Next day, before using the toilet, he'd inquire about the case. The gas station worker and an unidentified man had passed away. The police found themselves most flummoxed by the complete absence of motive and cash. He got home, grumbling that his Christmas gift wasn't satisfactory, claiming he wanted a piano. but pianos were way too expensive for his boss to afford. After hanging up, the sheriff casually inquired, "How much does a decent piano actually cost?"